right, greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How are you all doing? Good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with me today. We're live on YouTube, Rockfin, and on Callin. What's up, Rockfinners? How you doing? I see you. I see you. All right. Let's get into it. There's so much to cover as usual. I fear I will not be able to cover everything I wanted to cover today, but that's usually the case. Yes. A lot of people are giving Andre some health advice. But what you just said, D-Truth, about it doesn't have to be all at once. That's the best part right there. Just little by little. If you can get yourself to do, even 5 or 10 sit-ups a day on a regular basis, that'll be far more beneficial to you than trying to do 30 or 40 or 50 on one day and just getting wiped out. If you are not used to doing it on a regular basis, just do little tiny bits every single day. And same with food, right? If you're changing your diet a little bit at a time. All right. Anyways, that's my addition to that. Yeah. If you did a 10-minute workout every day in a month, you'd feel so much better than if you did try to run half a mile or a mile down the road on one given Saturday, and you'll be like, can't do that again. Or I feel like crap. All right. That actually works for almost anything too. If you want to play an instrument, if you want to, do anything, taking a little chunk a day is better than going ham and then getting discouraged. Like a little tiny bit a day. All right. John House has been throwing me some after hours tips on Rockfin. Thank you, John House. I appreciate it. Just wanted to acknowledge, got a couple of from John House over the last few days, and thank you. Judy Truitt, you were inspired by an RFK Jr. speech? When and where was that? He's getting some eyebrows, isn't he? Some eyebrows and eyeballs. Right? People are like, hey, how about that RFK? If you have a link to the speech or a place where I can go see it, I would love to see it. People are genuinely excited about RFK Jr. and maybe they're wrong. I don't know. I can't tell you that. I'm not going to tell you whether you're right or you're wrong. I, for one, enjoy new blood. I for one, enjoy new messages, new people. Somebody who is not in their 70s, for one. A nominating speech today. Okay. All right. Frank Miano, thanks for the super chat. And he says Jimmy Dore for president. And I actually would be okay with that too. I like Jimmy Dore, and I think he has good ideas. He spoke directly out against the MIC, the CIA, and the war machine. Oh, awesome. Well, shoot, man. How come I didn't see this speech? Hold on. Completely missed that one. Oh, here we go. Look out. There are people with like Kennedy signs already, Kennedy 24 signs. Nice. And presidential announcement. Okay. Oh, so this is him announcing his presidential run. Oh, okay. Well, then that makes sense, doesn't it? RFK Jr. has had a 2-hour-long presidential announcement speech in Boston. Somebody said it was too long. Facebook and YouTube took down RFK Jr. speech 30 minutes in. Wow. Sorry, I'm just kind of getting some reactions to this. Here's the thing with Jimmy Dore for president, especially when you have RFK Jr. in the race. You know, he's facing a lot more headwinds than even RFK Jr. can face. And he's very polarizing. I love Jimmy Dore, but I know that a lot of people hate Jimmy Dore, and they hate him for the wrong reasons. They hate him because, well, they hate Jimmy Dore because they're stupid. Sorry, I might have just offended somebody there. I might have just pissed somebody off. If you hate Jimmy Dore, you might hate him for the wrong reasons. That's all I'm going to say. You hate him because you don't understand him. But a lot of people dislike Jimmy Dore, and mostly because of propaganda, mostly because of smears, mostly because of people that have taken to the internets to tell you how bad Jimmy Dore is, and you don't actually go and experience Jimmy Dore for yourself. It's kind of like the Joe Rogan syndrome. I hate Joe Rogan and all the people that watch him. Well, you probably have never watched a Joe Rogan show in your life. And I'm not like everything Joe Rogan says is great. I just think he's more on the side of truth than most journalists. I'd take Joe Rogan over CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or any other, anybody else any day of the week, or Young Turks or whatever. I take Jimmy Dore. I take Kucinich for VP. So is Kucinich going to be his VP? Is that right? Or he just wants him to be his VP? Or is he just not saying, or is it too early to actually name a VP? I think it's way too early. I don't know. Maybe not. Well, anyways, I can't actually cover his speech now. Can I? Maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll find some clips tomorrow. But whoops. Shoot. During a speech on March 5th, he names the architects of the COVID pandemic. He's running out there with the truth. And I admire his bravery. I do. Anyways. Cool. I haven't seen a speech, haven't seen a lot of clips from it, and I can't really actually address it now, but probably tomorrow. But let's get into stuff before the time passes too quickly. Sorry if I offended anybody by saying you're stupid if you don't like Jimmy Dore. You're not stupid. You can have your opinions. But you're again, Jimmy Dore is nothing more than a truth teller. And you may not like his style. You may not like his abrasive style. You may not like his blunt truth telling. But tell the truth, he does. And he tries. And I think Jimmy Dore is an authentic person. And Jimmy Dore will give you, more truth every day of the week than anybody else will. And so I highly suggest you watch the Jimmy Dore show. This is a great clip. Well, speaking of which, I woke up this morning, first thing, I was kind of scrolling on Instagram, and Joe Rogan was covering, am I tone policing on truth? Oh, policing on truth? Oh, is that what you're saying? Okay. Veronica Paris, how you doing? Am I tone policing on truth, or is somebody else tone policing on truth? I don't understand your comment. Anyways, we are. So I was watching Instagram this morning. I was looking on the feed, and I do follow Joe Rogan, and he posted something about Just Stop Oil. These guys Just Stop Oil threw some paint. They what is it? The snooker world championship is like pool, right? People are playing pool championship. I think it's in Europe, and they came up and threw paint on the tables and disrupted the events. And Joe Rogan had I couldn't find the clip on Twitter, but Joe Rogan had a clip of it, and he said, this makes me want to burn tires. I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's intelligent. I know you. I got you, Veronica. Thank you for the clarification. I realized after my first glimpse of I realized what you meant, but I appreciate you. Anyways, so all the comments were like, I bet they drove there in their cars. And, I mean, anyways, it just was stupid. I added a comment, and I was like, and I don't even know if my comment was very helpful. Another friend of mine had a way better intelligent comment than me. I was just like, these comments are truly ignorant. That's all I had to say about, most of the comments were just really, mostly this, the usual. These guys are, they're knuckleheads. They work for Bill Gates, or they're something. It's like, but a few people were like, hey, this is actually a problem. And maybe the reaction shouldn't be like, F these guys, right? Maybe, and I actually thought, and later, I wanted to say was this could have been a teachable moment for Joe Rogan, right? Could have been like, I don't approve of this, but, destroying the planet for profit is probably not a wise thing to do, right? You could have taught some nuance here instead of saying this makes me want to burn tires, right? Like, and he just went with the goofball take, and he generally doesn't always do that. I do like Joe Rogan. I like a lot of what he has to say, and I appreciate his journalistic endeavors. So this is not a bash on Joe Rogan. I didn't think that was a great post. But again, it is fashionable to beat up on the climate change crowd. Even for people who believe that climate change is real, even for people who identify as progressives, lefties, people who understand that the earth is in trouble, but they're journalists and they understand that it's very fashionable to beat up on people who are standing up trying to do something about climate change or protesting for a better way, right? It's just a fashionable thing. Anyways, that was my take on his thing. But anyways, I was looking for the clip on Twitter, and I think Joe Rogan retweeted this, and this actually really sums up a lot. Gets to the root of a lot of the problem. This is Carl Sagan. We've arranged our society based on science and technology. Well, maybe I'll just let him talk. Hold on one second, okay?
We've arranged a society based on science and technology in which nobody understands anything about science and technology. And this combustible mixture of ignorance and power, sooner or later, is going to blow up in our faces. I mean, who is running the science and technology in a democracy if the people don't know anything about it? But we've arranged a society.
Ooh, that's pretty great. A combustible mixture of ignorance and power. A combustible mixture of ignorance and power. Sooner or later is going to blow up in your face, right? And this is, this is kind of towards the root of the problem, is that, when you there's a great is it a Fishbone album or is it a song? There's a Fishbone album called "Give a Monkey a Brain," right? Which is like, that says a lot right there too. We come from a past of being more more animal than we would. We like to think humans are not animals. We're not animalistic. We don't have animalistic tendencies. We're not, we are better, we're bigger, we're faster, we're stronger, whatever. But we don't understand, the power of the technology that we've unleashed. We don't understand it enough to to know all the ramifications of it. And, although it is a wonderful thing, the technology is a wonderful thing and it's very powerful, but is it something that we are going to continue? And obviously, if you just look in the recent past, about how well we have controlled technology and the negative impacts of it, which is not at all or not very well, right? We don't control technology very well. We do not. We try. We make attempts. We nod towards safety and careful and careful, methodical moves into the future. We make a nod towards that, but mostly we just go, hey, here's this new thing I invented. Want to try it? Let's see what happens. Right? Like, oh, there's side effects. Oh, sorry. Oh, there's, pollution. Oh, sorry. Oh, there's, oh, we've destroyed the atmosphere with too much, release of carbon. Oh, sorry. That's our actual legacy on the planet. Sorry if that offends you or annoys you. It's just the truth. If are some people trying to make it better? Are we trying to get better in some ways? Sure. And I appreciate that for the people out there trying. I appreciate you. I do. But when you look at the sum total of it, and we are still in the midst of unleashing ever more powerful technology on the planet that we, don't give a toss for the future consequences for it. We really don't care. We just want to push it out there because technology is always the answer. Bigger, better, faster is always the way. And it's unfortunate that is the reality. Hey, Phantomas, I see you. I'm going to give me a moment. We'll take your call in a few moments. From Peter Dines, incredible heat in Asia. Heat. Again, I hear people, journalists, just never, ever covering the cataclysmic changes on the planet that are happening and still dismiss it with nary a bit of data and evidence, just things out of their mouths. And people parrot those things just fallen out of their mouths with no data and evidence behind it, or no esteemed study or scientist to come back up this data and evidence, right? Nope. Nope. I actually saw Kim Iverson was saying, I like RFK Jr. He's pretty cool. And then somebody was like, yeah, but he's in the climate change cult. And I was like, dude, this is the issue. They really did whatever they did. I don't know if this is on purpose or not. I don't know if it's on purpose or not. But they really did they did a really good number, because you got to be on the, well, I know the truth of everything that's going on. And I know that climate change is a hoax, right? So fail, wrong, and the people that believe in climate change also believe everything else that comes out of the officialdom's mouth. And that's also, no, wrong, fail. So everybody's confused now. There's not a lot of people who can pick through the things and go like, yep, that's true. No, that's not true. There are people that can do that. Man, let me tell you how much I love the people that can do that. But there are so many people who are in the cult of like, climate change is a hoax. Of course. It's the ultimate control. I mean, it might be the ultimate control thing, but it doesn't really matter, because it's going to take out, the controlled and the controllers. It will take it all out, and it won't matter. Anyways, it's hot. Thailand, all-time hottest, 45.4 C. I think he means in April. I don't know if he means ever, but hey, maybe he means ever. All-time hottest. Laos, all-time heat records, 41.6 C. I mean, if that is all-time heat records in April, that's not good. China, 109 weather stations in the warmest April ever. Turkmenistan, hottest April on record, etc., etc. Peter Dines goes on to say, this is in 2023. Are we supposed to take net zero by 2050 actually serious? Can you imagine the heat in 30 years unless drastic action is taken? But hey, Peter, they're trying to take away your personal vehicles for climate change. That's crazy. So there's that. You've got to contend with that entire segment of the population who now believes this is true. Yeah. I don't know. If it was an uphill battle before, it's pretty much a 90-degree angle. Uphill. I don't even know. Severe heat wave in Asia. A bunch of people died at a ceremony in India the other day because it was so dang hot. That's the thing about heat waves, is that they're deadly sometimes, right? People die of heat stroke, right, and exposure to the heat. It's the thing that people die from, but they want, but the people that are talking to me, the naysayers they're talking about the weather. Oh, it's just the weather. It's weather. Okay. The weather can actually kill you. You know that. If you're in the wrong place, if you're in the wrong part of the weather, it can actually take you out. Extreme temperatures described as the worst April heat wave in Asian history, as records threatened in India, China, Thailand, and Laos. Maximiliano Herrera, a climatologist and weather historian, described the unusually high temperatures as the worst April heat wave in Asian history. In China, local media reported the record temperatures for April had been observed in many locations, including Chengdu, Zhejiang, Nanjing, Hangzhou, and other areas of the Yangtze River Delta region. In Bangladesh, a country at the forefront of the climate crisis, temperatures soared above 40 C in the capital of Dhaka on Saturday, the hottest day in 58 years. causing road surfaces to melt. I don't think they're making that up. I don't think, they're just people at, their computers saying, let's just make up a story about how hot it is. It's not a story. I actually, just for giggles, I went and looked up the temperatures around India. It's hot. It's hot as heck. Delhi, 6 cities in North and East India recorded temperatures above 44 C, while the capital, Delhi, recorded 40 C on Tuesday. High temperatures in India have prompted school closures. 13 people died and further 8 received medical treatment due to sunstroke after an award event that was held outdoors in Maharashtra. Yeah. So that's happening. It's a thing that's happening. And this is also a thing that's happening that is wild. This is wild. Have you been watching this ocean sea surface temperature graph? I mean, I've been showing it, but look at the deviation. This is now. We are here now. That's an insane amount of deviation. That is a wild, and look at the and it looks like it wants to go up more. And there's, of course, so many signs that we're entering an El Nino. That doesn't look good. And if that continues, all these, reports of like, well, no blue ocean event this year. Whew. I don't believe it. I think it's all off the table right now. The certainty that it's not going to happen this year, that's completely off the table. No. If this kind of thing keeps going this year and we have an El Nino, no. Roll the dice. Roll the dice. Because that's insane. That is an insane amount of warmth. More about this. Just one more thing, and then I'm going to take this call from Fantomas. From Sam Carana. The sea surface temperature in 2023 has been above 21 C for 25 days, unprecedented in the NOAA record from 1981. The black line 2023 is as much as 0.3 C hotter than the orange line 2022, and we're only just entering the upcoming El Nino. It was a little more smoothed out, but yeah. I mean, it's the same. I mean, this is we're in a new high, and a high that looks, I mean, it looks like there have been jumps as big in the past, but I mean, we're in a space where things are starting to get weird, or evidently weird. I don't know. You tell me. All right. Fantomas. And I have your article. Sorry. Oh, trying to take this call. Fantomas, how you doing?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention real quickly about the fishbone thing. I think with fishbone in particular, it's a lot of people don't realize that if you listen to No Doubt, I mean, Fishbone, No Doubt wouldn't exist without Fishbone. They
Right.
grew up listening to that band, so if you listen to No Doubt, you're proxy listening to Fishbone
Right.
in a big way
Yeah, yeah.
because after every day after school they would listen to it.
They're the progenitors.
So
yeah, the whole.
I find
right.
it funny because of the fact that I find it funny because everyone worshipped. Again, this is not a slight to any band or anything like that, but they worshipped No Doubt to the ends of the earth, and most people never really made that connection. Even when the band put it in their interviews,
Right.
even when they used the horn section, it
Yep.
was like
Yep.
No Doubt, Fishbone,
Mhm.
and they're from the same state. I mean, so
They're
there
from a
was
few
so
miles
many-
away from each other.
They
right.
used to go to all the shows.
Right. Right.
But they might as well have been roadies. So
Fishbone, one of the
anyways,
greatest bands,
that's
one
a
of the
great
greatest
album.
bands ever. Fishbone, one of the greatest bands ever, and they yeah, I mean, amazing
it's a sad
musicians,
thing
insane
it's a
musicians.
sad thing what happened to their
Yeah. Well, they
it's
should
a
have.
sad thing what happened to their guitarist. He joined the Christian cult.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
there are a
go
lot
ahead.
of issues with the band. You know, like
Yeah.
that. It's unfortunate because they should be. You know, somebody's asked what is Fishbone? Fishbone is a band, great band, but they should be, right? Like No Doubt status or Red Hot Chili Pepper status. You know, like Phil Stadium, legendary. You know, right? Legendary rock band from, you know, the '80s. That, like, you know, fills stadiums and tours all over the world and could, you know, right? But
Yeah.
but they're not now. You know, Angelo. I mean, they tour. They still tour, but you know, they're playing like clubs. They tour around the country. They play, and in Europe, and they play like club gigs. And Angelo still plays with his band around town. You know, playing like bars and whatnot. It's like, you know, it's on one hand it's kind of cool because you can actually just go see Fishbone at a club, you know, or maybe a smaller festival. You know, you could just, you know, you could probably go see him for $10, right, or whatever. But like, and see and be really up close to them. But they are phenomenal, huge, you know, gigantic talent wise. They're a gigantic band.
Yeah, I guess we should mention in passing that one of the reasons why they were pioneering in the fact that they were on the rock scene was because they came from the black rock world. They were an all-black band. So the fact that they were on Columbia Records was a big deal. And you could say that opened the door for Living Color and other acts
people,
like that.
that's one of the famous comparisons is people like to compare Fishbone to Living Color, and they're like, who's better? It's I'm sorry, Living Color folks. No. I mean, yeah, you know, great musicians. You know, I love Living Color, but like just the depth of the discography and the songwriting and the talent and the like. I mean, no, not even close. Sorry, it's just like not even. Living Color had like an album, and they had a song that made it onto the radio, and that's cool for them. It was good. You know, they're great. Vernon Reid, awesome.
Yeah.
You know, insane guitarist, but just like. If you stack up
And then, of course, the other
Fishbone talent
band
against
that
Living Color talent, no way. Anyways, those are my thoughts.
And then of course the other band that opened the door was Bad Brains.
Oh, Bad Brains, hell yeah.
So, yeah, but
I used to work in a mailroom.
yeah,
I used to work in a mailroom with the roadie,
So-
with a former roadie for Bad Brains in HR, and he told me a whole bunch of stories. It was a fun gig because he just would tell me stories about Bad Brains, but being on the road with Bad Brains, it was cool.
Yeah. So the moral of the story, people, before we get in the news, is the check out Bad Brains and check out Fishbone. Okay.
Right. Right.
That's
But
the
Fishbone is
that's the
still
whole
out there, doing it.
lesson.
I don't know about Bad Brains, but I know that Fishbone is still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you sent me the story about a Norway research station.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
To me, this is the perfect example of the sort of stuff that we should be when people talk to give examples and stuff like this. Like, well, what's the big deal about the climate changing? And you give an example of, well, research stations are closing for one. A lot of people are losing their livelihood too. You know,
right.
I mean, that's the thing that I think that people. It goes back to the issue of the disconnect that we have in society, where a lot of people don't realize that when the climate changes, whether it's colder or whether it's warmer, you're going to put the people in duress. And when you put people in duress, you're on the platform for more war, more volatility, more conflict.
Right.
I don't
Right.
think people understand that. I don't think they get that. And the other thing is it creates shockwaves, and it's so much easier to create a wider range war than it was 40 years ago. So everything that's happening right now just comes at you faster than ever, and we're not prepared as a society. You know, we haven't been through that conflict where I buried a dead soldier. Has anyone?
Right.
I mean, I was reading an article about Joe Zawinul, how he grew up.
Yes.
And he said when he was growing up in his country, he had to bury dead soldiers. And I was like, you won. You won,
right.
sir. You won in terms of like, you touched life in a way that I could never touch.
Right.
And then also, you know, there's the issue of the fact that they made it in such a way where we've talked about this. Talking about the environment is talking about it in a hippie way, which is ridiculous in so many different levels.
Right.
We all need to depend on the environment that we live on, and the fact that people mock it is very strange.
Yeah. I don't. It's unfortunate that the understanding of what is going on is so, confused, basically. Like, and not to say that a lot of people don't understand what's going on. There are a lot of people out there that totally get it, that see it, understand it, they get it, they're worried about it, they're concerned about it, they're concerned for the future, they're concerned about their kids' future. There are people out there that do get it, but they're just. I honestly really, really do think that there's a, and we know this is already true, but there is a concerted effort to confuse people about what's going on. And the point, the short-term point of it is to keep everybody going. It's to keep everybody going in the system, to keep everybody like,
right.
Of course, we need more oil. Of course, we can't use these renewable things. We need we need clean, reliable energy, right? We need, of course, they're trying to take away your personal vehicles, right? Like it's all of that. It feels, I don't know, I'm not singling out one particular person, but it all feels like, as a whole, like it's very good messaging for continuing business as usual on the planet. It's all just, that climate change is a bunch of hooey, and they're just trying to control you. We're just trying to, they want to take away your personal vehicles and tell you that you're not going to own anything, right? Oh, crazy. But, like, regardless of the evil the evil people with the plans at the top, and they all do have them, regardless of that, it's still happening, right? And they're trying to get you, they're suspending you in this like state of disbelief, right? They're suspending you, they're making you think the movie is real a little bit longer, and allowing people to feel like, nah, there's everything's fine, right? It just it creates a situation where people are going to be super surprised when things really start falling apart, right? When the real shocks start happening, people are going to be like, what? Oh my God. Right. And it won't even really matter whether,
And I think
it won't matter whether it's Dr. Evil, you know, in his Harp Ray. It won't matter at that point, because you're going to be wondering where you're going to get some food. And that's going to be not fun. That's going to be very scary.
Well, the one thing. So the thing I'll say in closing is if people are wondering like why we're here, is because it's so impossible to surf above culture wars. And people say, well, can't we talk about it all at once? Yes, we can, but eventually there comes a point where we have to balance everything out. And right now, culture wars is just basically our I don't know how you would describe it, our football or something. In politics, culture wars is everything, and it's creating such a loud noise of just feedback that we can't go through it, Kev. We just can't, and
Right.
I think that's going to be the biggest issue we're going to be facing for, I don't know, decades. I mean, you name it, because the fact is that there's going to be another culture war, and there's culture wars within culture wars happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. There's, you know, there are messages within messages being pushed out there for sure. And even the people that are like, you know, well, think for yourself, do your own research, investigate, you know, but there is a concerted effort to tell you not to believe in that the climate change is happening, or that we're altering the planet in a fundamental way. There's a concerted effort there, and I find that very interesting, because, you know, do your own research, believe what you want, think for yourself, bloppity boop bap bap. But, you know, but this is just a bunch of bullshit. You know, it's like, okay, right? I find it funny. I really loved. I think it was Gordon Dimmick. Was on AM Wake Up one day, and I just love, you know, he came out and just was like, rah, like fire breathing dragon. He was like, we are screwing the planet, boys, right? And it was like, right, this message doesn't get out on this channel much, or this message doesn't get out in these places much. You know, but once in a while those things leak through, you know, and it's interesting to see what the reaction to that is, right? It's interesting to see like how much, you know, how in depth they go to, oh, well, tell me more. What do you mean by this? No, it's none of that going on. Anyways, but, you know, kudos to Gordon Dimmick. And anyways, yeah.
And I mean, the other thing I'll say, so the last thing I'll say is that you can just look at what's trending on Twitter, and the fact that we care about people like Matt Walsh being owned because he was hacked or whatever. And people actually want to talk about this. That's the other thing, Tim. When people try to engage me in the subject, I never take the bait in that way, because it's like, because one, it's a personality, and I don't really care about the personality. I mean, basically, people have risen Matt Walsh to the level that he's at, where he can talk about the issues that he wants to talk about, promote the things that he wants to promote, and then who cares if he was owned? I mean, look at what's happening around you on a daily basis, just one thing after the other. And it's that's the stuff that we really need to start focusing on.
Right. And you know, in conclusion, like, I appreciate the people that are trying to put to speak truth to power and give people a sense of agency around like what they can, you know, what they know and what they think, and I appreciate that, you know, just to clarify.
Yeah,
I'm not against any of the people that I'm speaking about. I'm just saying it's just a weird, you know, when it comes to climate change, it's a weird thing. People just walk right into this area where there's no, you know, the data and evidence is very flimsy, and there's no, well, let's get an expert on to tell us about it. Well, there's no, well, you know, maybe it's our expert, right? You know, it's not, there isn't an openness, and it just makes me very curious. And I'm like, wow, okay. There was a lot of data and evidence and science behind everything else you said, and when you got to this one subject, you were like, nah. No, data and evidence is enough for, you know, it's not, I don't need it. I just think it's just a hooey. It's just a bunch of hooey, right? I'm like, you just went straight to emotional knee jerking there. Good job. Good journalism. It's just weird to me. It's fucking weird. Anyway, sorry. All right. Thank you, Fantomas. The clock is ticking away.
Later.
All right. Thanks, man. Again, believe it what you want, but believe it with data and evidence. I really urge the data and the evidence part to be present and accounted for in your beliefs. I love the conspiracy theories. Let me tell you, not because, I mean, I'm interested in conspiracy theories because I think that it's a real thing. People are conspiring to tell you that climate change isn't a thing. That's actually a conspiracy theory that's true, right? The fossil fuel business, the selling of oils and the burning of fossil fuels is literally the entire lifeblood of our civilization. And it's, if it's not the biggest business on the planet, it's the biggest, as far as dollars, it's the biggest business as far as influence and reach and it is the lifeblood of this planet, fossil fuels. It's the lifeblood of human civilization. So why wouldn't they go the extra mile to let people know that, or try to let people know or get people to think like, nah, everything's fine. I mean, everybody else does it, right? Big Pharma does it. Big Ag does it. All the other corporations do it. Big Tech does it. Why wouldn't fossil fuels do it? No, they wouldn't do it? That sounds just a mite naive to me, or confused, or intentionally confused, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways. But Phantom has sent me this article. I mean, in summation, they're this is a weather, a research station in Norway that is getting very warm, right? And scientists hoping to harvest ice cores are finding glaciers inundated by water. And they're, that's happening in everywhere. The Antarctic, the Arctic. Kind of everywhere you look. It's kind of obvious. The glaciers are melting in Europe. The glaciers are melting all over the world. On Mount Everest, all the snowpack is melting. The once, permanently ice-covered, snow-covered the mountains of Mount Everest, all the snow is beginning to thaw away, and it's revealing, dead bodies and artifacts from all the people that were like, let's go hike up this mountain because cool. All that ice is going away. I wonder why. I don't know why. You tell me. All right, guys. I'm nearing the end of my show, and I didn't even get very far into everything I wanted to get into. Speaking of conspiracy theories, have you guys heard this? There's new news that actually isn't all that new about the people that made 9/11 happen were CIA assets. Have you guys heard that one or read that one? It's actually a news story. I'm not going to cover it right now. But I mean, if you understand 9/11, you might go, could have told you that. All right, it's mid-April in British Columbia. Right now, there's a wildfire burning out of control. The just Tisqualikes. I don't even Tisqualaxwa. Tix. I think that's how you pronounce it. I did it once, and I'm not going to do it again. The First Nation has issued an evacuation alert, the first of 2023. Yeah, wildfires in British Columbia in April. That's normal. G. Demmer says BC is cold right now. Judy Truitt says the CIA is not your friend. RFK Jr. has vowed to take them on. Ooh. JFK vowed the same thing. Yes, he did. I, for one, am pulling up a chair for this one. Things could get really interesting. They could. All right, let me see if I got any more I can cover today. Okay. Last thing I wanted to talk about on the show, we're gonna talk about. Did you hear about the black socialists in St. Louis that were arrested for spreading Russian propaganda? And this, kind of comes on the heels of the. There were some raids on some other black nationalists. I don't know if they're black nationalists, but Afrocentric, power communities in Florida and in D.C. I think the Uhuru movement were raided by the FBI last year. But this is crazy, though. This is, and it's interesting that they targeted these folks, right? And also interesting because apparently the people that are not happy with what this is under the Biden administration, by the way. This is not Trump doing this. This is Biden doing this. So, glad we beat fascism back. Because this is pretty fascist. 3 St. Louis residents indicted on charges of illegally pushing pro-Russian propaganda. What? And this literally could be anybody. This is what is frightening. This is what is chilling about this, because this literally anybody. I mean, this could be me. Could be, anybody who's, questioning the activities in Ukraine or what's going on in Ukraine, or what we're doing there. This should frighten people. Federal grand jury has charged 3 St. Louis residents with illegally pushing pro-Russian propaganda and misinformation about Ukraine and sowing discord across Missouri, Georgia, and Florida. How dare they? Through the African People's Socialist Party. The indictment alleges that African People's Socialist Party chairman Omali Yashitela and members Penny Joan Hess and Jesse Novell acted as illegal agents of the Russian government without notifying the U.S. Attorney General. What? They each face up to 10 years in prison for that charge. They also face up to 5 years in prison for conspiring to have U.S. citizens act as illegal agents. The indictment alleges Russian national Alexander Viktorovich Ionov founded the Anti-Globalization Movement of Russia, a Moscow-based organization run by the Russian government to promote pro-Russian propaganda and create influence campaigns among political groups across the country. Red Scare, anybody? McCarthy era kind of activities, anybody? anyways, these political groups included the African People's Socialist Party. It also alleges Ionov tried to promote the Russian invasion of Ukraine with pro-Russian talking points. Talking points, you know. Those talking points are so powerful. It's hard to get, you know. Talking points. They can do anything. It says that Ionov would appear on video calls hosted by the party in which he likened support to Ukraine to supporting Nazis. What? Because they're actually Nazis, though. And that Yeshitela made statements supporting Russia, but they have already, there was a bill in Congress that was like stop funding Nazis bill, and it was about the Nazis in Ukraine. They know they're Nazis. Wow. This is really convoluted and insane. Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service allegedly weaponized our First Amendment rights, freedoms. Russia denies its own citizens to divide Americans and interfere in elections in the United States. This is Justice Department's. They're weaponizing our First Amendment rights. Oh my God. So, we can't have First Amendment rights because they could be weaponized by the wrong people. And we see the same kind of language happening around, Trump supporters or right-wingers or the African Socialist Party, right? So anybody who doesn't agree with us, you're weaponizing your First Amendment rights. You are Russian propagandists. You are, go down the list of what you can be called. This is insane. The indictment comes several months after the FBI raided the party's Uhuru Center in South St. Louis. Agents raided the party's St. Petersburg office as well. Yeshitela said at the time that his organization had never taken money from the Russian government. The Uhuru Center drew attention last year after it had raised money for projects across the city, including nearly $130,000 from GoFundMe for the basketball court in the fairground neighborhood. That sounds like actually something like community activism. Are they going to try and make this sound like that's a bad thing? Yeshitela also founded the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, an anti-colonialist organization, and led a march for reparations in cities across the country in 2021. In an interview with St. Louis on the air last year, Yeshitela addressed the raid and acknowledged visiting Russia in the past, but denied taking money from the Russian government. Yes, I've been to Russia, but I've also been to South Africa. I've been to Ghana. I've been to various other places in Africa. I've been to Nicaragua. I've been to all kinds of places where oppressed people are organizing because black people need not to be isolated. The indictment accuses Ionov and two other Russian nationals of conspiring to influence U.S. political campaigns and influence democratic elections. The three also face up to 10 years. They face up to 10 years for acting as illegal agents of the Russian government. I don't know, guys. This is a bad precedent. Yeah. Yes, the Uhuru movement is something that Garland Nixon has talked about, yes. I don't know. And again, I'll say it one more time. When you wish for the silencing of the people that you don't like, and is the moment that you wish for your own silencing. Because that wand or whatever you want to wave over the make them go away, that will wave over you as well. When you say, hey, what about my First Amendment? Oh, you weaponized it. I mean, yeah, you got First Amendment rights, but it's illegal to weaponize the First Amendment. And what does that even mean, right? What does that even mean? All right, guys, that does it for me. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. Real quick before I go, good way to support the show, buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. Rockfin tips, greatly appreciated, of course. Super chats, greatly appreciated, of course. And there are Venmo and Cash App links in the description box of all the platforms I'm on. I will see you guys tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And until next time, peace.